close your eyes now, and let your breath grow soft and steady. Tonight, we travel back through the mists of time, over 2,500 years ago, to the peaceful kingdom of Kapilavastu, nestled at the foot of the great Himalayan mountains. The golden sunset casts long shadows across the royal gardens, and the air is filled with the gentle fragrance of jasmine and lotus blossoms. Here, in this sacred place where the borders of India and Nepal meet today, begins our story of the most peaceful soul who ever walked this earth, Prince Siddhartha, who would one day become the Buddha, the awakened one. As you settle deeper into your pillow, imagine yourself walking through these ancient gardens, where peacocks call softly in the distance and the evening breeze carries the sound of temple bells. Tonight, you are not just listening to a story, you are witnessing the gentle unfolding of wisdom itself. In the 6th century before the Common Era, there lived a noble king named Siddhartha, ruler of the proud Sakya clan. His wife, Queen Mahamaya, was known throughout the land for her kindness and grace. She had eyes like deep pools of compassion and a voice as gentle as morning dew on lotus petals. One night, as the full moon cast its silver light across the royal palace, Queen Mahamaya had the most extraordinary dream. She saw a magnificent white elephant, radiant as fresh snow on the highest peaks, approaching her with 6 gleaming tusks. This elephant, more beautiful than any earthly creature, entered her right side in the dream, and she felt a warmth spread through her entire being, a warmth of pure love and peace. When she awoke, the queen knew that something sacred had occurred. The wise astrologers of the kingdom confirmed that she carried within her womb a child destined for greatness. One who would become either a powerful emperor ruling the entire world, or a spiritual teacher who would guide all beings to freedom from suffering. As the months passed, Queen Mahamaya grew radiant with an inner light. Flowers seemed to bloom more vibrantly in her presence, and even the palace animals, the peacocks, the deer, the gentle cows, would gather peacefully around her, sensing the sacred life growing within. When the time came for the child to be born, the queen was walking in the beautiful Lumbini Grove, a garden paradise filled with sal trees whose branches reached toward heaven like hands in prayer. As she rested her hand on one of these sacred trees, feeling its ancient strength, the child emerged into the world in the most gentle way possible. The moment Prince Siddhartha was born, the entire universe seemed to pause in reverence. Lotus flowers bloomed beneath his feet as he took his first 7 steps. The earth itself trembled. Not with violence, but with joy, like a mother's heart beating with love for her newborn child. The baby looked up at the sky, then down at the earth, and in that moment, it was as if he understood both the magnificence and the sorrow of existence. But joy and sorrow often walk hand in hand. 7 days after this miraculous birth, Queen Mahamaya departed from this world, leaving behind a love so pure that it seemed to settle into the very stones of the palace, blessing all who walked there. The baby was lovingly raised by his aunt, Mahaprajapati, who cared for him as if he were her own precious child. King Siddhartha, remembering the prophecy that his son might become a great spiritual teacher, decided to surround the young prince with every comfort and pleasure the world could offer, hoping to keep him content within the palace walls and prevent him from seeking the path of renunciation. As you breathe slowly and deeply, picture young Prince Siddhartha growing up in the most beautiful palace imaginable. Every room was filled with silk cushions in colors of sunrise and sunset. Gardens bloomed with flowers from every corner of the earth. Fountains sang gentle songs day and night. The prince had teachers who were the wisest in all the lands, who taught him languages, mathematics, poetry, and the arts of governance. But even as a child, Siddhartha showed an unusual quality of deep thoughtfulness. While other children played with toys and games, he would often sit quietly under the trees, watching the clouds drift across the sky, or observing the way morning light danced on the surface of the palace ponds. One day, during a royal plowing festival, young Siddhartha was left alone under a rose-apple tree while his father participated in the ceremonies. When the servants returned to find him, they discovered something remarkable. The child was sitting in perfect meditation, so still and peaceful that the shadows of the tree had not moved despite the passage of hours. It was as if time itself had paused to protect this young soul lost in inner contemplation. The wise ones whispered among themselves, "This child carries within him the seed of great awakening." As Siddhartha grew into a young man, his father arranged for him to learn all the arts befitting a prince. He became skilled in archery, swordsmanship, and horsemanship. He could speak multiple languages and compose beautiful poetry. But in everything he did, there was a gentleness, a quality of doing no harm to any living being. When he was 16, his father arranged his marriage to Princess Yashoda, a young woman of extraordinary beauty and wisdom. Their wedding was celebrated throughout the kingdom, and in time, they were blessed with a son named Rahula. To all who observed them, it seemed that Prince Siddhartha had everything a person could desire: wealth, family, comfort, and the promise of ruling a prosperous kingdom. But deep in his heart, like a seed waiting for the right season to sprout, something stirred, a question that would not be silenced, a yearning to understand the true nature of existence. Despite all his father's efforts to keep him sheltered within the palace walls, destiny has a way of unfolding exactly as it should. When Siddhartha was 29 years old, his curiosity about the world beyond the golden gates became too strong to ignore. On his first journey outside the palace, accompanied by his loyal charioteer Channa, Prince Siddhartha encountered something his sheltered life had never prepared him for: an old man, bent with age, his hair white as winter clouds, walking slowly with the support of a wooden staff. "What has happened to this man?" Siddhartha asked his charioteer, his heart filled with compassion. "This is old age, my prince," Channa replied gently. "It comes to all who live long enough. Your body too, and mine, will one day become frail like this." For the first time in his life, Prince Siddhartha understood that the youthful strength he had always known was temporary. Like flowers that bloom and fade with the seasons. On his second journey beyond the palace walls, he encountered a man writhing in pain, his body racked with illness. Again, his heart opened with compassion, and again, Channa explained, "This is sickness, my prince. The body, no matter how carefully tended, can become ill. None of us can escape this possibility." On the third journey, they came upon a funeral procession. People were weeping as they carried a body wrapped in white cloth. For the first time, Siddhartha confronted the reality of death, the fact that every life, no matter how precious, no matter how loved, must eventually come to an end. These three sights, old age, sickness, and death, pierced through the veil of his protected existence like gentle but persistent rain soaking through silk. He began to understand that even in the midst of all luxury and comfort, suffering was woven into the very fabric of existence. But it was the fourth sight that changed everything. On his final journey outside the palace, Siddhartha encountered a wandering monk, a man who had given up all worldly possessions. This monk's face radiated a peace that seemed to come from beyond all the pleasures and sorrows of ordinary life. His eyes held a depth of serenity that no amount of wealth could purchase. "Who is this man?" Siddhartha asked. "This is one who seeks the truth beyond suffering," Channa replied. "He has renounced the world to find lasting peace." In that moment, Siddhartha knew his path. That very night, under the soft light of the stars, he made a decision that would change the course of human history. He looked one last time upon his sleeping wife and infant son, his heart overflowing with love but also with the recognition that true love sometimes requires the courage to seek ultimate truth. He cut his long, princely hair with his sword, exchanged his royal robes for the simple clothes of a seeker, and walked out into the night, beginning his quest for the end of all suffering.